Hey everyone, Balaclava Corporate here, and today I'm going to talk about the fact that I don't like my job and I'm trying to get out of it. So, for those of you who haven't seen previous videos, I'm currently a consultant at one of the big four accounting firms. I work in enterprise technology and performance, specifically EPM implementation. That's the kind of consulting that I do. And I'm not really a fan of it. So I'm going to be taking you through a couple things. I'm going to be taking you through when I first discovered that I didn't want to do this and what I tried to do about it in terms of moving within the company internally, my attempts at that when it came to chatting with partners to see if they had vacancies. And then I'm going to take you to now, where I'm actually applying not internally, but externally. And the current list of jobs that I have applied to and that are pending in terms of application. I'll be taking you through the industries I'm looking at, the actual companies I've applied for, and the given positions. So let's start with when I realized I didn't like the team that I was in, the work I was doing. This would have been very early into my graduate program. So I started my position as a graduate consultant in July 2022. And about 3 months in, around October, is when I had made the first step into trying to get into a different team. Now, how I went about this was based on something that happened to a friend of mine. She was originally in consulting in the same accounting firm. She didn't like the work. She had a cybersecurity background, and she actually wanted to do something that's more focused on that, not just general tech. So she simply reached out to the partner in the cybersecurity advisory team, had a chat with him, and he mentioned there was a vacancy. And within the first 2 weeks of her grad program, she switched over. So it seemed very seamless, very casual. And I thought maybe I'd have the same luck or the same treatment. Not so much, but basically I was interested in mergers and acquisitions. So I reached out to the PA, the personal assistant of the partner in M&A within the company. It's a very flat hierarchy in my company, and they do honor that. And it is actually quite easy to get in contact with the PA of a partner, have a half an hour time slot placed in their calendar within the next week or two, so you can have a chat with them and ask them questions and talk about your interests. And they actually do give you time of day. They do answer your questions. They do most of the talking. They're happy to talk to you, happy to give you advice. I've had very positive experiences in that regard. So you're definitely not treated like a burden or someone who's infringing on their time, which is fantastic. So the day comes for me to meet the partner of M&A. I sat down with my prepared questions about what they do, what a day-to-day is like, and how the team is currently looking. And long story short, he told me that it's just him and 2 analysts. It's a very, very small team within the company. And he implied that he was looking for experienced people to join the team, which makes a lot of sense. You only got 3 people, inclusive of the partner. You need human resources that are more skilled, more trained, and basically people that have more skin in the game, not some grad who's been there for 2 months and's never done anything in M&A. So he didn't allude to any vacancies. He didn't offer up anything at all. So it was a nice chat, but that was the end of that. I continued on in the projects within my team until I decided that I wanted to potentially join up with the digital team. Basically, I in the midst of my grad program, I think it was in my 2nd or 3rd month, I managed to sign up for a workshop day, which is, you always get emails talking about workshops and whatnot that are, for upskilling, personal development. So this was a full day workshop, the full 7.5 hours, hosted by the director of the customer marketing and advertising team in the digital space of the company. And I just basically wanted to get a day off of work by still being at work. It's a workshop, you watch the slides, you do some activities, you get the free catered food and blah, blah. That's what I was there for. But the guy, the director himself, was talking about a lot of the projects he had worked on. He even consulted with the university that I went to in the department that I actually worked in at my university, the student services department. And they were the people who implemented live chat and some of the websites and, taking care of the user interface and whatnot. So for him to have worked on a project where I, as an employee at this university, got to be the user and be the end user of their product, that was really cool to me. And I liked what they actually did. So his work intrigued me, and so the team intrigued me. So I reached out to the partner in the digital space of that team and asked if we could have a chat, hoping again that with my interest expressed, that they would say, hey, we have a vacancy open, etc., etc. That didn't happen. So I sat with the partner. I had some questions about what they did. I expressed my interest in their services. But if the partner actually told me, oh, you're an EPM, you should probably do 2 or 3 years in that and then think about switching over. It's good to have those battle scars. Battle scars. So that was a dud. And so I just continued on working in the projects and the team that I didn't like. So anyway, recently, back in April, there was an email that we got, and it was advertising internal secondments within the company. And so I jumped at it, even though I didn't even qualify. This is something very important, guys. Even if you don't qualify for something, even if you don't meet the criteria 100%, apply anyway. You never know. The core or the minimum requirement for this internal secondment was that you had been at the company for a year as an analyst or a consultant, right? I was a grad who'd been there for 10 months. I don't meet the minimum requirement. I applied anyway, and guess what? I got through. I got through to the interview. So I applied for the internal secondment despite only being a grad who was there for 10 months. I had the meeting with, and this, by the way, the team that I applied for was in the digital space, the same team that I had a previous conversation with the partner with. I had the interview booked for May 1st, and it was with the team lead as well as the partner of that portfolio, who was a different partner to the previous one. This one was a woman. The interview went well. I like to think that they did like me, and they did have a few business analyst roles vacancies available. A couple of months went by, and I heard pretty much nothing back from either of these people, however. So that ended up being a dud as well. Kind of annoyed me with the lack of professionalism. You should just reach out and say if you can't hire people anymore, if you're no longer, in the running, you should just say so. But a lot of these people like to drag their feet. Anyway, so in this case, I've had talks with 2 partners on my own accord and applied for an internal secondment. Then when it came to my promo, when I did actually get promoted the final week of June, I told my partner about this, as in the guy who's actually the partner of my team. This is the 4th partner I'm in contact with, right? And I told him, hey, I applied for an internal secondment. What happened? He said, I'll look into it. Turns out that team is on a hiring freeze and not putting anyone on board. Also, the partner, the lady that I spoke to, she was on leave, and she wouldn't get back to me until the end of July anyway. So that's going to be another 2 weeks away as of now. So that pissed me off, but oh well, that's life. I like to see things as, if these doors are closed, it's for a reason, and I accept that. Anyway, so he then told me, the partner then told me, listen, because I expressed to him my lack of interest in what I was doing and the fact that I wanted out. Now, they do want to retain you. Even if they don't retain you in their team, they want to retain you within the company itself. So he said, listen, reach out to your director, have a chat with him to see if there are spaces within our own team, if this is another business unit, that you can find some interest in. But also in general, I wish you all the best with, maybe going into a different portfolio. So I had a chat with my director the following week. He told me, listen, because I told him I was interested in terms of like ideation, advisory, whatnot. He told me, listen, what we have even in neighboring teams isn't what you're looking for. So you're probably better off looking at a different portfolio altogether. And he gave me some names because he knew some partners. What they were doing wasn't really what I'm into. It was just, at the end of the day, it's not what I want to do. It's just not as bad as what I'm currently doing. So he told me that he would also talk to some partners on his end. In the meantime, I'll contact the partners that he gave me the names of. That was about 2 weeks ago. He hasn't gotten back to me about anything. And I don't even want to reach out to the partners that his contacts he gave me, because I'm ultimately not actually interested in what they do. It's just not, what they do is just not as bad as what I'm doing now, to be slightly better. And that's not the attitude that you want. You want to be able to like your work. You should love your work. It should be a hell yes. And if it's not, it's a hell no. So baby, I've tried. I've really done all that I can. I've really exhausted my options here. I haven't, been trying to avoid taking action. I've taken all the action possible with the top people. It hasn't gone anywhere. So what has your girl been doing up in this cabin? She's been applying for jobs outside the company. So that's where we're at. And I'm gonna take you through the 3 primary industries that I'm looking into and the jobs and companies that I've applied for so far. So just for background, I have a finance degree. I did a couple of postgrad units in info systems and tech, and I have 1 year's experience in consulting at a Big 4 accounting firm. Okay, so that does put me in a pretty decent position when it comes to entering the workforce, when it comes to applying for jobs. I suppose, I guess, maybe not. We'll find out. So the 3 industries that I'm interested in are consulting, because that's what I've done and that's what I do. And consulting is very, although ambiguous, it's very dynamic. It's problem solving at its core. It's building and improving businesses. It's working with people. It's strategy. It's the shit that I like. And that's kind of the mentality that I've had since I was a kid. So it makes sense for me. The next industry is wealth management. I absolutely love money. In fact, wealth management is probably my favorite on the list. I love money. I've always loved money. I've had a keen interest in investing, trading, and personal finance since late high school, early uni. I've been wanting to be I knew I wanted to be and was going to be a millionaire when I was 8 years old. Am I a millionaire? No, sweetheart, not yet. Give me a little bit of time, okay? I've only just been on this planet for a quarter of a century, and contrary to popular belief, it generally takes more time than that to become a millionaire. Although I am planning on doing shit quicker than others. Anyway, so wealth management, I love it. I'm the one who tells my friends, open up this app, like a brokerage app, sign up and make a brokerage account, invest in these stocks. I've been following some of the great investors for the last few years now, since university. I've bought the books, I've bought the courses, you name it, baby. Although the portfolio is looking pretty dire at the moment, it's not the best time. Actually, no, that's not true. Money can be made in every market, but admittedly, I haven't been on my grind as much when it comes to staying up to speed with the latest skills and the latest information. And just basically, when it comes to trading and investing, it's time invested and it's skin in the game. And I haven't been putting as much skin in the game as I should, but that's okay. Long-term investing for the win, right? Anyway, So wealth management is the second industry that I am most interested in. The third one is actually business development, which is like sales. And like most people, we have our own perception of sales. But when you look at the reality of sales and business development, it's a lot of it is remote work, working on your own time, autonomously. You're a self-starter. It's very entrepreneurial. It's a numbers game. You have more control over your income because majority of these positions are uncapped commissions. If you're someone who is naturally competitive, naturally loves seeing numbers go up, go green, if you're a great talker, if you love speaking to people, if you are good at negotiation, getting your point across, being persuasive, then this would be a dream boat for you. And I find it incredibly appealing, I'm not gonna lie. I think it would very much suit my personality, and it would also suit my ambitions in terms of money, making money on my own accord, being able to win, treating it like a game, treating it like a video game, getting up to, collecting the gems. Like, I don't know, I think I look at business development the same way I look at Spyro. I'm not sure how old you kids are. I'm not sure how old people are who, people watching this, but back on PlayStation, there was a game with a little purple dinosaur named Spyro, and he'd go around collecting gems, colorful gems. Really lame, basic game, but I don't know, I loved it. I don't know. I think I have like a little forager in me. Maybe in my past life, I was a forager. Who knows? Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the applications that I currently have submitted and pending for the three industries that I'm interested in. So, for consulting, I've submitted an application for associate at McKinsey, and I also have an application that I do need to submit for Bain and Company. So those two major consulting firms are what I'm looking at. I also did submit an application for a personal development consultant, which I think is definitely more sales based. I think it's probably to do with maybe selling certain, I don't know, courses or programs to people in the personal development space. I did get a reply back on that for a phone call interview or something like that, so I got to book that soon. I am interested in it though, because even though it's personal development consultant, that's a title, it's definitely sales based, with uncapped commissions and whatnot, which does really appeal to me. It seems like the kind of position where I would be able to have a lot of conversations with people to understand their position, and we can share our experiences and, kind of resonate with one another and build good level of trust and rapport in that regard. And I'd be able to probably offer them that's something that's actually of interest. So they'd have something that benefits them. And then of course, if I make the sale, that benefits me, baby. So seems pretty good. Getting an associate role at McKinsey would be sick, because the big four accounting firms are notorious for paying absolute shit money, baby. I'll go into more detail, probably do like an expose with the salaries that these firms give you. Big four accounting firms notorious for being underpayers, as in like they pay you about 20% below market rate, but they have all the so-called perks in the world. And the fact that you have their name on your resume is, I suppose, a value add in itself. So maybe that's their excuse. Who knows? Actually, that's definitely their excuse. But McKinsey, companies like McKinsey, Bain, Boston Legal Group, they're known for giving you 6 figures off the bat. Graduates get 6 figures off the bat. McKinsey provides things like 120% over market rate. So if I got a job at McKinsey, if I got this associate role, I'd definitely be making 100K plus. Same with Bain. So that'd be pretty sick. Not gonna lie. I'd be in consulting, which, great work. I'd be at one of the most reputable firms on the planet, and I'd be getting absolute coin, baby. But you work hard though. The thing is, I'm working hard right now. That's the thing. We know the big four accounting firms may be perceived as less cutthroat, less competitive, and that's why they're not as high up. But at the end of the day, I'm doing 10, 12, 14 hour days for work that I don't even like. So you can imagine how much effort I would put into a job that I actually enjoyed waking up to in the morning. We're working hard, we're putting in the time, the hours, and the absolute fucking stress. Might as well be at a company that has a better name and a better paycheck. Am I right? Of course I am. Anyway, when it comes to wealth management, I have applied for two positions, two positions at Goldman Sachs. So they're both associate positions. One is an associate in private equity. I submitted that only 2 days ago. The second one I applied for back in May, and that was private wealth advisor associate. Current status, under consideration. We'll see how that goes. Though I'm not, well, this is technically sales, the next one, but I'll put it under wealth management just because it's a multinational finance firm, and that is good old JP Morgan. I put in an application for associate in security sales, and I got the email today saying that I was rejected. Yeah, I'm kidding. That's all right though. If you're not meant for it, you're not meant for it. I do believe they actually wanted someone more experienced, and I have no security sales experience, no investment experience, not at a corporate level at least, so I'm not too surprised. Now, the third and final industry is business development, and I have made a lot of submissions. I've made a lot of application submissions for this one because business development is that. It's always open, it's always fast-paced, not necessarily high turnover, but people moving up. At the end of the day, because business development, when you think about the actual business model, the more the merrier. That's why they have uncapped commissions, because what you do for the company automatically results in revenue generation. I mean, it's sales, people. Business development is sales. It's revenue generation. So when you have an appointment booked or you have a lead, whatever, it's going to result in this amount of money for the company, and you get some of that. So that's why, they can always, they have high, headcount growth. They always have positions open in business development. It's a numbers game as well. It's not about the time that you put in, it's about the impact that you've made, which is why when it comes to business development, people get promoted in 3 months, 6 months, not like a year, because if you've done the work, if you've generated the leads, been part of that revenue generation process, you've contributed, and there's a direct contribution, especially if you're a business development, even if you're just at the front line as a kid who's making these cold calls, you're still part of that process. You're the one who initiates, and you can move up the ladder very, very quickly and get that new title, get that promo, and get the extra commission, high salary, whatever it may be. So when it comes to business development, I've made a lot of application submissions because there's a lot more availability in that space. There's a lot more opportunity in that space. The doors are always open. So I've put in 7 applications for business development representative roles, 2 applications for business development associate role, and 2 applications for business development executive role. Now, generally speaking, in terms of business development hierarchy roles, it goes business development rep, associate, then executive. However, as in business development rep is the entry level, associate is someone who's been doing it a little while, it's a little bit better, and executive is usually someone who's handling an account themselves, kind of thing, or handling a lot of clientele or leads, etc. However, that's not set in stone at all, because honestly, these companies use these terminology, these titles interchangeably, babes. Like, I've seen entry-level positions advertised as business development executive, not business development rep. So at the end of the day, if you're looking through business development opportunities, don't necessarily skip over the title of executive because you're new to the game. Because for all you know, that advertisement, they're just using the word executive as part of the title. There are no rules, there's no policies, you know what I mean? That say, oh, this title means this, and you can only advertise a business development executive role for experienced individuals. No, they use these titles however they want to. So A business development executive job ad may be very well be advertised to people who don't actually have experience but are ready to be trained up. Business development representative, though, usually that sounds like an entry-level role, but I've seen those job ads require 2 to 3 years experience and a track record. So whether it's associate, representative, or executive, apply for it, because it could be entry-level, it could be it could require experience, it could require no actual skin in the game, so you never know. Just go for it. So that's what I currently have pending. I'm not gonna lie, a part of me just wants something new. A part of me wants something more exciting. I'm tired of being miserable day in and day out with my job. I feel like I've never made a decision based on my joy or fulfillment. I have not had joy or fulfillment in my life for a while. I'm not going to get too deep here because that's gay. But at this point, if I don't get like the role at McKinsey or Bain, I'm not even that bothered. It's like, it's the name and it's some money, whatever. The personal development consulting one, which is more sales-based, sounds more cool because, again, the money is what I'm after, baby. The money that I get based off, me being able to talk to people. I've been giving unsolicited advice since kindergarten. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like I'm made for it, but, sales never had this element of prestige, and me being someone who was very egotistical with smart identity growing up and whatnot, I wasn't going to go for something that wasn't respected or seen as, how do you say, high in the dominance hierarchy. But, at the end of the day, I can recognize its value now. I can recognize my own talents now. And I feel like, honestly, the business development roles are appealing to me the most. Control over your lifestyle and workday. It's remote work, it's calls, it's making your own strategy, creating your own communication and content in order to reach out to people and get leads. That's where my freestyling and creativity and my interpersonal communication skills can really shine through. It's a lot of calling and talking. I've worked in call centers, both inbound and outbound, solving people's problems. And I've been known for being just, great on the phones. I've been told I have a very confident, knowledgeable, authoritative voice, and I'm going to put that to... I'm not even going to put that to the test. I'm going to put it to work so it can actually benefit me, baby, in a space where I have uncapped commissions and more control over my income. And there's a lot of money that can be made. It's an average 6 figures on target earnings when it comes to these business development roles. So now you're all up to date with the job hunt that I'm on, and I will keep you all posted. I'll give you updates as they roll in, and we'll see how we go, baby. Here's to waking up in the morning and actually enjoying what you're doing. We're here for joy. We're here for joy and money. That's what we're here for, because that's what's important.